everyone, and welcome to our webinar, The Basics of Medical Thermography and How It Can Benefit Your Practice. I'm Kristen Burton, Certified Clinical Thermographer and Trainer, as well as Executive Director of the Institute for the Advancement of Medical Thermography, also known as the IAMT. Medical thermography is an amazing and extremely useful tool that integrative and functional doctors and health practitioners routinely use to evaluate the inflammatory process and monitor treatment of their patients. Here to help you understand this process and answer your questions is Francine van Broekhoven, Board President of the IAMT. Francine is an incredible, warm-hearted person and sharp businesswoman who has literally introduced medical thermography to the Netherlands and Europe, as well as inspired others from around the world on the benefits of medical thermography. Francine was an acupuncturist before she dedicated her life to thermography. She had a big why moment when her mother died from complications related to breast cancer and realized that there's a great need for preventive breast health care. She started her thermography business, The Green Nurse, in 2014 in the Netherlands, and by December 2019, she had done over 5,000 breast studies and has become an expert in the breast health marketing field. She has thousands of followers on Facebook. She wrote a book, which is translated into English, and it's called The Handbook of Breast Health and Thermography, and it is available for purchase from the IAMT. In addition, she launched a magazine, she writes a blog for influential websites, and is a frequent speaker both live and on Facebook. Francine works together with holistic dentists and doctors of functional medicine to help them identify inflammation and monitor treatment using the amazing science of medical thermography. Please give a warm welcome to Francine van Broekhoven.
Thank you, Kristen. What a wonderful way to be introduced. Thank you. And Kristen is our Executive Director of the IAMT, and you do an amazing job for the IAMT. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay. And so actually this presentation, I will go through a lot of slides, and we will give you an opportunity to ask questions. And if you have a question, please put it in the chat. And Kristen and I will keep an eye on it on the chat and try to answer your question as best as we can. And so we're going through the presentation, and maybe sometimes I can't find the English word for it because my native language is Dutch, of course, and then I will just ask Kristen to jump in. So that's how we all do it all together. So in this presentation, okay, this was me, of course. If you want to see my website, thegreennurse.co.uk or degroenezuster.nl. So what are we looking at? We want to do this presentation especially for therapists, doctors, dentists, everyone who can benefit from the images of medical tomography. So that's why we do this presentation, to give an explanation of what we're looking at. How does it benefit your practice? How does it benefit your client's healing process? So you can even monitor your treatment plan with medical tomography. But how does it work? So that's what we're going to discuss a bit in this presentation. So first, let me say that medical tomography is not a standalone device. We always need, if we see remarkable things, we always need extra investigative tools like ultrasound or any other thing. So we're looking at physiology, not anatomy, and I will go a little bit deeper into that later on. It's very sensitive, not specific. In the medical world, that's very common to say that mammography, for instance, is very specific. It's on the cell level, and we're looking at how sensitive it is. So we can give a clear evidence for follow-up research, and we have fantastic MDs and therapists who do our interpretations of the thermography studies. So this report is very important for the client itself to see if there's any changes over time, but also for a practitioner. So how can it benefit you? So what is thermography? Okay, let's start with the camera. And you know, everyone thinks it's a normal camera, but actually it is something that retrieves information from the body and brings it to the software. So the camera is really a detector, and it doesn't have any radiation or waves, so it's very safe to be in front. What are we looking at? How does this work? Maybe you all heard of this fantastic doctor Hippocrates. What Hippocrates did was he placed wet mud on the surface of the skin, and where it would dry up first, on that place it's warmer, and so on that place he would look for the disease or complaint or whatever. So instead of using mud, we exchanged that for an HD camera, and we're looking at so many things. So let me give you a first example of what we're looking at in physiology, and what the medical world is looking at, anatomy. I always compare it with the 6 phases of disease of Dr. Reckerweg, and maybe you heard of him. He was a German doctor. And what he did is make a description of all kinds of phases a disease can go through. And like phase 1, you know, it's muscle ache or a cough, it will clear on its own. But phase 2, there's where an inflammation comes in, like a bacteria, and you get diarrhea or a fever, it will clear. But after phase 6, there's nothing else. That's just death. So what they're doing in the medical world is they want to have a diagnose. And a diagnose means a disease already has to be there. So then we're looking at phase 4. So a disease needs to be there. A thyroid blood sample needs to have values that say, okay, your thyroid is sick. So it's not upcoming, it is already. Or a mammogram may say, oh, we see a lump. Or so there's already change of tissue. But we as thermographers always wonder, what was the process before that? And so we are looking at phase 2, at the inflammation phase. So from phase 2 and up, that's where thermography comes in. Any questions? No, not yet. Okay.
We do have a question from Nicole. Nicole Austin says, what is the difference between thermography and an ultrasound? She gets this question all the time, and she needs to know how to answer it succinctly.
Okay. What I always say, the difference between thermography and ultrasound, like ultrasound can be compared with mammography or other investigative tools that look at the tissue. So if they want to see something with ultrasound or mammography, the tissue already needs to be changed. So they're looking at the tissue. They want to look into the body with radiation or waves. And thermography looks at the physiology. So how does it work? I always compare it like this. So if something's going on with the stomach, like an inflammation in your stomach, you can actually feel it. There's something going on. You need to have an X-ray maybe, or something's going on. But what the stomach does is physiology. So you can see a bone broke, you know, it's broken. Then there's a tissue changement. But what we see is there might be an inflammation going on. So those are 2 very different things. The one looks in the anatomy, and we're looking at physiology. How does it work? So that's yeah, like phase 2 and phase 4 of the 6 phases of Reckerweg. Maybe you can explain that better, Kristen, or is this clear?
Yeah, no, that was great. You know, of the anatomy versus physiology. What happened versus what's happening.
Yes,
is
that's
so
right.
important. And we know how ultrasound works, but what happened versus what's happening is very important, because what's happening right now may be happening, and years from now, you're going to see you're going to see the body change. But if you can just see where your body's prioritizing right now, you possibly can get on top of it before it turns into, oh my gosh, what happened?
Yeah, very clear. Thank you. So, and the body is always working to keep in balance in temperatures. I always say, you know, your left and right hand should be one temperature. Your left and right breast should be one temperature. There should not be a difference between them. So that's what the body is doing. So what are we looking at? There are different things that we can see with medical tomography. Of course, superficial blood vessels are visible, like varicose veins or blood vessels over the breast. You see them. And so that's what we see. We see hypothermic patterns, which are cold patterns, which are very important because sometimes people say, oh, you have a heat camera. That's not about heat, it's about temperature. And especially asymmetry in temperature is the most important characteristic. So, and also in grayscale, what you see here, the third image, you see this mottling pattern over the back. I always say it looks like a leopard skin. and this is typical for hormonal disturbance or something like that. And so we can actually say something about that too. So a lot of things are visible on the skin. So it's not just about heat. It's about all these patterns together that make a good report. So the skin is really a receiver of all kinds of signals. And that's coming from our central nervous system. So our central nervous system is constantly talking to all our functions like the immune system, digestive system, endocrine system. So it is a receiver of signals constantly going up and down. And like I said before, if we talk about the stomach, if there is an inflammation, sometimes people think, oh, well, that's why the skin is so red over my stomach. Well, that's not true because the camera cannot see deeper than a quarter of an inch into the skin. So how come that that part there is either blue or red? It is because the nervous system already knows what's going on with the stomach. And it knows that the stomach needs healing. And that will be given to the stomach by blood. So either more blood will go to the stomach or less. So our blood vessels have a possibility to do vasoconstriction or vasolidate. Do I pronounce that right? I hope so.
What was that last word?
We call it vasolidation. So,
vasodilation. Got it.
Oh,
vasodilation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Got it.
And so, yeah, so that's why we get all kinds of patterns to see on the skin. So whether hypothermic or hyperthermic are both very important. Yeah. So here you see a little scheme from that. So the skin is constantly acting as a switch between the central nervous system and all the functions of the body. And that's why we can see it. So people sometimes say, oh, I thought you could say something about the liver. we can, but not because we go into the body, but because it's visible on the skin. So no radiation, no waves. It's always safe, comfortable. And as I said, the camera is more a detector than it is a camera who takes pictures. So it's safe for everyone. You know, I get men, women, even children are in front of the camera. And the wonderful thing is that the report that comes out of it, that gives a theme for the person who has been in front of the camera, because they want to know what is the next step in my health program. So what is preventative about thermography in a physical examination? Well, we can see all kinds of patterns. I mean, medical tomography is not just for breast. A lot of people think that, but like I said, we have all kinds of people in front of our cameras. So we can say something about the back, we can say something about the breast, or the inflammation maybe in the jaw, intestines, posture, well, all kinds of things. And we all bring it together in a report. Oh, this is It's kind of a joke. My cat was hiding in a dark alley. I think he thought he was hiding. It was completely dark, but my camera could see it. Isn't it lovely? So I think an innovative practice uses medical tomography because you can actually help your clients better, because you can see, okay, this is what's going on, and with my treatment plan, we're going to help you. And in a period of time, like 6 months or a year, we have my treatment plan, and then you can go back for your thermogram and see if it has changed. Isn't that wonderful? Because this is all about prevention. And so a lot of therapists work on the prevention side. And so this really helps to get an insight for your clients, because if your clients can actually see it, they're more, they have more, how do you say that? They want to stick to your treatment plan.
More engaged. More engaged.
Yeah, they're more
inspired.
engaged. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So I always look at it like this, you know, because sometimes people say, do you work with doctors, or why isn't this in a hospital? And we're getting there, but it takes time. Like X-ray, it was revolutionary in 1895, but even then, doctors would say, I'm not going to believe those pictures, you know, I will cut it open and I want to see it myself. Nowadays, that's so stupid to say. I mean, nowadays we rely on X-rays, MRIs, CT scans, ultrasound, and so everything that is new in the medical world will take years to be adapted. And so for who is this for? Well, everyone working with health. So all the healthcare practitioners, like dentists or chiropractors or breast tissue therapists or other healthcare professionals, it's so very helpful. It is an extra tool to help you help your clients. So we have some case studies, and I would like to start with this one. This is a very nice. This is a woman. She had pain in the right hip, and I actually had such a woman in one of my trainings, and she came in with a very painful hip. Well, not the same images as this one, but almost the same. And she said, oh, my pain is in the right hip. I want you to take images of my right hip. I said, we're always looking at symmetry and asymmetry and temperature. So I will definitely look at the other hip as well. And so I did, and I saw a similar image like this. And she says, my physiotherapist has been working on my right hip, which was fantastic, of course, but it doesn't work. It doesn't help. It doesn't improve. And so I said, it might be that the problem is on the other side. So take these images to your physiotherapist and show them and find out what you can do. So this is, yeah, this is very nice for chiropractors or physiotherapists or osteopaths to see those images and see what's actually going on. Also, regional pain syndrome. It's very hard to understand in the medical world because they can't see it, but medical tomography has a way of showing what's going on, and these are examples of regional pain syndrome. Actually, this one is from a lady. She came in a few months ago in one of my practices, and she fell off a horse, and she fell very badly on a little pole that was beside of the road. And she went to the hospital, and they said, oh, well, nothing's really going on, and you just need a lot of physiotherapy, just keep moving. But she was in so much pain. And so she came in for a woman's health study, actually. But when I heard her story and I saw one hip, I said, can I take some extra pictures and even use it for our trainings? And she said, of course. So this is what we're looking at. She had that regional pain syndrome, and one leg is completely gone. You can see that. That's where a lot of pain is. But what you can also see is the lower spine has some inflammation to the right side. So that's where the actual problem is. So it's on the sacrum, and And so that needs to be healed. That needs to be dealt with. And so yeah, so we can see a lot of things with medical tomography. Also, this man, he came in 76 years old, and he did a head and neck study. And he had tingling in one of his fingers. And I said, okay, well, if I look at your images and I see this cold spot on the neck, could be an impingement of one of the nerves, or nerve entrapment, or an impingement of one of the cervical spine vertebrae. And so while his doctor said, okay, that's arthritis, you need to learn to live with it, he now goes to an osteopath and is being treated. And so his hands already feel better. But because of these images, he was able to identify it and go to an osteopath and now have really treatments for it instead of just waiting and dealing with it. Yeah. Isn't this wonderful? Yeah. So what we see a lot of times is asymmetry in temperatures of the eyes. And we're still looking at this. Where does this come from? Does it come from the spine? Is there something going on with the eyes? And I'm collecting as much images as I can from all of my studies to see what's going on. And a lot of times I see there's an inflammation in one eye, or someone has contact lenses, but only in one eye, or there's something going on with the spine. So this is very interesting to see as well. So how about these diabetic feet? You know, people with diabetes, they are trained to feel with their own hands, or somebody in the household to feel with their bare hands on the plantar side of their feet, to feel if there are any changes in temperature. But you know, that's so difficult because your hands are not the same temperature always, or it's very hot outside. So how can you feel whether there's a change in temperature on the sole of your feet? So I always say, if you do this once every 6 months with diabetes, then you will be able to see a change in temperature coming out, because it's very important for people with diabetes to have this monitoring every 6 months. Because if there is an ulcer and it's breaking out, then it's very difficult to heal for people with diabetes. So they have to be very careful with this. They need to find orthopedium. What's that word in English, Kristen?
Orthopedic doctor.
Orthopedic, yeah, an orthopedic doctor to see if they can get insoles in their shoes to prevent it from going on.
Or podiatrist. Yeah, podiatrist too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So then I often see images like this, and you can just make it a region of interest. What I also find very interesting, if I do the feet, I always do the whole leg and also the whole back, because this might also be a problem coming from the back. Okay, thank you. And so, yeah, I would always like to start out with the full body. And there's so many patterns that we can see over the thyroid, yeah, veins over the leg that might be varicose veins. And even if the hands, you know, there are so many patterns over the hands. So the hands that you can see here, you know, hands should be green with 10 blue fingers. That's normal physiology in the medical tomography. But what we see here is very different. So it refers to something. And we're always looking for more evidence of the rest of the body to see, yeah, what we can say about these hands. And what you said, Kristen, there are so many bacteria coming from the mouth, and we can't see it. And even dentists can't sometimes see it, because if they make an X-ray, it's very difficult for them to see an inflammation. Sometimes it can be years later before they actually can see the inflammation. We see hypothermic patterns which refer to inflammations. So I have a very good connection with a holistic dentist here in the Netherlands, and he looks at the images and say, okay, let's go deeper. Let's go find this one, and we make sure it clears. We need to do something. So he takes it very seriously. And so you see this breast in the lower image. This was actually a client of mine, and she had a higher level of concern of the left breast. And it was like that for, I think, a year, maybe 2 years. And she did everything she could for her breast tissue treatments, taking off the bra, dry brushing, and all kinds of things, but it wouldn't go down. And I said, you know what we should do? We should do a woman's health screening, because I want to have a look at your mouth on the whole face, see what's going on. And then we saw an hypothermic area, which referred to an inflammation. And so she went to the dentist and she got it cleared. And then the level of concern came down from the left breast. Isn't that just beautiful? Yeah. Okay, so here some more. And also all these bacteria coming from the mouth are draining in the lymphatics all along the way, around the neck, along the neck. So how can thermography contribute to you monitoring your treatment plan? That's exciting news. So this was actually an image I took from a young woman who was 30, and she came into one of my practices. She had a full body. And when I discussed her report on the phone appointment, I said, you know, the report is talking about maybe a risk of pre-diabetes or hyperkalemia. And so you need to address that. And she said, oh my gosh. She said, yeah, my whole family has diabetes. So I'm going to take care of my diet. I'm going to make some lifestyle changes. Anyway, she came back after about 4 months for a second of the baseline of her breast. And she said, do you remember that picture you took of my hands? And do you want to look again? I said, of course. So I put the camera on her hands, and there were her hands, you know, perfectly green with 10 blue fingers. I said, you did it. Isn't that wonderful? You can even compliment someone on really taking the effort to make lifestyle changes. I love that. Yeah. So what we're looking at the breast, a lot of people always ask, what are you seeing in the breast? The first thing we look at is asymmetry, because both breasts need to be the same. And that's always what I say too. When I have a consultant with a woman who comes in for a breast consultants, I always ask them, do you perform self-breast exam? And sometimes they say, no, I just don't know what to feel, you know. I try, I do my best, but I don't know what to feel. I said, it's about asymmetry. So never do a breast exam with one hand on your head and one hand on your breast, but always put 2 hands at a time at your breast, because you want to feel the asymmetry. So not just look for a lump, but look for asymmetry. So that's the most important thing, what I can tell a woman. And you know, that's also what the thermographers are looking at. So what you see here are beautiful symmetries, but beautiful, you know, there are things going on here, like congested lymph, stress, all kinds of things going on. So these women need a detox, really, anti-inflammatory diets, or need to take care of their hormones or their lifestyle. So, but there is a low level of concern because it's symmetrical. So one of the most important things. So I want to show you too how asymmetrical looks like. So here we have asymmetry. Can you see that? So one breast is clearly normal and the other breast has some kind of hypothermia, which refers to an inflammation. So a lot of asymmetry here. And then how can you monitor? Well, the first image on the left, that's from a woman who came in, what was it, 2014. And she had a lumpy breast, always painful. And every year she got a mammogram because she had so much pain. And her house doctor said, okay, let's have a mammogram again. But she said it didn't help me because I know nothing was going on there, as they said in the mammogram, but still, why were my breasts so painful? And I said, you know, this thermogram has a symmetry. It has a low level of concern, but you really need to do something. So take off your bra as much as you can, do dry brushing, even breast tissue treatments. And she called me after 2 weeks saying, oh my gosh, it has cleared. The pain is gone. And I said, wow, that's amazing. So we did a second of the baseline after a few months, and then we had this thermogram on the right side, which is very normal and beautiful symmetry. So that's how we monitor in thermography. So this one actually the same, and I can go on and on and on with these with these comparisons for the breast, because I have so many examples just like this. Women with almost the same remarks when they come back. Also with the abdomen, we can do the before and after, or monitor any treatment plan. So this woman had her first image taken, and then 8 weeks later she had the second image. What she did, she had a weekly reflexology, and she changed the diet for 8 weeks, and then you see what it did to her whole abdomen. So thermography can really serve you. We always looking at therapists here in the Netherlands, MDs, dentists, chiropractors, all kinds of paramedics who want to help our clients, but then they need to know how thermography works. Because if I send my client to them with their thermography report and they don't understand it, then it's no use for me to send them. So make sure your therapists or MDs really understand what thermography is about, and they don't have to know everything, but just the basics. Show them this video. And because then I really can refer my clients to them. So we help to identify health challenges. It's written all over the report, and then it can really be a guidance. Do you want to add anything to that, Kristen?
Yes. One thing I see is that we have a lot of thermographers on this call, and that, you know, our job is to serve the referring practitioners and licensed healthcare practitioners that we work with. And so you're a practitioner, and you can advise your clients, and you can look at things and say, wow, you look so much better and everything. But really that's something that thermographers need to work with their referring physicians on. Then the referring physicians are talking to the clients. And so in the United States, we can get ourselves in a little bit of a bundle if we are actually advising the clients and commenting too much on their patterns. And so what this webinar is meant to do is to help physicians be able to use thermography to monitor. And so as thermographers, this is an excellent webinar to share with them, because then they can be looking at these, reading the reports and understanding, and you can help them understand as a thermographer, certainly. Yeah. And then they're the ones that are advising the patients. Just kind of a little technicality there that I think is important.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Excellent. Yeah, thank you. So the Institute for the Advancement of Medical Thermography is helping, as Kristen already said. We have a brand new website. We are there for all the thermographers of the world. Doesn't matter what kind of system they work with. We are there to educate, support them. We also have a locator tool. So if you want to be a member or you want to be on the website, just let us know, and you can become a member and come on the website as well. So do you want to add something to that, Kristen, for the IAMT?
Yes, we launched our website, and it's about half finished here, but we've got a lot of the good parts in. So please look through it and send us your feedback, the thermographers here on the call. The locator tool is up and running. So if somebody is looking for you, they can find you if you're a member. So thank you so much for all the support that we got from Dr. Carol and you, Francine, and our entire board of directors and other thermographers that helped us put this together. There's more to come, and we're really excited about using this whole website as an educational tool, as well as a way for the general public to find our thermographers. So very exciting, this website. And a little plug, Francine's son, Victor, put this together for us. He's our web designer. He's amazing. And he's been with us every step of the way. So shout out to Victor.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. So have a look at the website and discover what there is. There's so much out there. Images, videos, trainings, you know, you name it, it's out there. So
and we have a chat question. We have a chat question.
Yeah.
Julie Steele asks, can you have Francine explain why there's so much controversy about cameras and systems? So different cameras, different systems.
Why there is controversy? Wow, that's a difficult question.
It is.
Yeah, because you know, we as the IAMT, we like to work with the best of the best camera, and for us, or for me at least, it's the FLIR A615, and because I've been looking, I've done my due diligence looking into all kinds of systems, but I like that the best. And you know, for me, software is where it's all about. You know, I always look at the software and then I want to be able to say, okay, if I'm going to make the images on day one, I need to be able to make the images exactly the same as day one. Otherwise, you can't compare. I mean, you need to be able to compare temperatures and really small differences. So the software is most important, and that's why I like to work with the Total Vision software. Yeah, well, I don't know.
And you know, I can add to that the IAMT is for all thermographers who need to connect and educate and support. And yet many of us here own FLIR cameras from MedHot. We own the Total Vision software because it's the best. And you know, I have had the privilege of seeing other cameras and other softwares, and I'm just so grateful to the expertise and the genius of Dr. Carol Chandler, who has put together over the years and refined year after year after year the way we image through the software and through the different tools that we use, like the automated stand. Wow, the automated stand, I can't live without it personally. And so many other elements of the Total Vision software. But no matter what camera you have, no matter what software you have, you can come to the IAMT and you can get education and support. You don't have to be a MedHot customer, but we have a lot of them here because we all are just part of the big fan club of MedHot and Total Vision. We have another one here. Can you add the diabetic foot study to any scan or to another scan? Is there an extra charge? And okay, let's see. And are we looking if they have diabetes, or would it be a good idea if certain issues came back, like blood sugar issues, then get it done? Or is it only to monitor people who know they have diabetes?
Yes, that's the latter one, because if someone wants to know if they have diabetes, I refer them back to their GP, you know, have a blood test. But if they know they have diabetes, then then it's very useful to monitor their feet every 6 months. You know, one of my family members has diabetes 1, and he comes in every 6 months to have his feet done with medical tomography because he wants to know. He said, I can't feel it. And if I ask one of my family members, they can't feel it either. So it's very difficult because it's so precise. So, yeah.
It's a great way to keep an eye on those people that have issues with diabetes and they're starting to feel neuropathy and things like that. We can watch it and measure and monitor it and give that feedback to their practitioners to help guide treatment and monitor it. And also Suzanne Lundborg says, what about calibration of the camera?
Yeah, the calibration of the camera, well, that needs to be done every, what do we do, 1.5 years, 2 years?
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years. And it also depends on how much you use it. I mean, I use it daily. My camera is daily in the practices, not daily, not in the weekend. So this week I have lots of thermograms to make every day. So yeah, I think.
How many do you have this week, Francine? How many do you have this week?
Oh my God. I have 41 this week.
This week.
This week, 41.
You are the queen. Wow, everybody who's a thermographer out there. Wow, right? Respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'll be out there tomorrow. Yeah. I'm a mobile thermographer, so I'll, yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, 1.5 years, depends, 2 years maybe, Suzanne. Yeah. Any other questions? I like those questions.
Let's see. I have one that came in as text. Is there any kind of FDA requirement with our cameras? The FDA has supported thermography as a adjunct to mammography, if that's what that question means. I'm not exactly sure specifically what that question is asking. But
Carol Chandler. Carol, are you on the line?
Carol, can you get on chat and answer that question about?
Because there was something with
FDA.
Camera and, yeah. Hi.
There she is.
Hi. Okay. Well, the question was about the FDA requirement.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Camera.
So if you're using in the United States, if you're using an infrared camera to image people and you're being paid for it, then the system, including the camera and the software, have to be FDA registered. You have to have a 510K. So you can't just buy a camera, you know, from Fluke or somebody and set up shop. Then you're outside the FDA requirement, and they could show.
Okay.
So I understand that the camera and the total vision software together makes it, well, okay. FDA.
So you can't just buy a FLIR camera and image people. You have to buy the FLIR camera. You have to buy it from me because I have the FLIR camera and the total vision software combination.
Okay.
And it's registered with the FDA as such.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, really good point, Dr. Carol.
Wow. Yeah.
Like the number one point.
More
If you're shopping
questions.
for a camera, you better make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's with the FDA.
Wonderful. More questions. Oh, keep going. I like this.
Let's see, where's our chat? Let's see. Anybody else? Nope.
Okay. Well, I think we had a very nice webinar. And if you have any questions after this video, or if you see it as a recording, then please send your questions to Kristen Burton, kristeniamt@gmail.com, or you can also give me an email at the Green Nurse on the website, or by our new website, of course, IAMTonline.org is our URL. So if there are no more questions, then I would like to end this. Yeah, still one more.
Let's see. Oh, Julie's still. You need to unmute yourself, Julie. You're muted.
I was just saying bye.
Oh, and thank you for that nice comment to Julie about IAMT being supportive of all thermographers. We're really striving for that.
You know what? Yeah, because you know what? We're all out here to save the boobs. For me.
Save the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, please share this video as much as you can. Share it on your Facebook or whatever. And we are really here to serve you, to help you, thermographers, and help you also help the therapists and the MDs and the paramedics understand thermography really well, because that's what we're aiming for. So thank you very much, Kristen. Thank you, Carol, for a fantastic comments. Yeah.
Okay, thank you too. All the work that Francine and Kristen and Howard and everybody's doing is so appreciated. This is what our industry needed to help bring us all together, and so that we can all you know, be successful, no matter what camera you have or, you know, who you're serving. We want to make sure that thermography gets its due. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay,
Have a
take care.
great day. Bye-bye.